Do fans actually keep us cool? And if so, how? Stay tuned and you'll find out. A fan is a simple device. All it does is move air around. But how on earth does moving air around cool down a room? The answer is actually quite simple. It doesn't. Moving air around with a fan doesn't make it any cooler. If anything, it makes it hotter because the fan's motor heats up while it's running. The only way a fan can possibly cool down a room is if it's bringing in cooler air from outside the room. So, does that mean fans are useless? Well, no, because while they don't do anything to lower the temperature of a room, they do cool down people who are inside the room. The human body is actually a walking heater that is constantly heating up the air around it. This is because normal human body temperature is at around 36 to 37 degrees Celsius, which is usually warmer than the air. Heat takes a long time to travel through air due to its poor thermal conductivity. This means the air surrounding the body ends up being warmer than the air in the rest of the room. This warmer air can't absorb as much heat from the body and we begin to feel hot. In order to feel cool again, the warm air has to be moved away from the body and replaced with cooler air. That's where fans come in handy. A fan circulates the air inside a room. Because the air is now constantly moving, the warm air is moved away from the body and replaced with cooler air that is at room temperature. This cooler air is able to absorb more heat from our bodies, thus giving us a cooling effect. We also feel this cooling effect outdoors when there is a breeze. Even when the temperature of the air is what we would consider hot, for example 30 degrees Celsius, there is still a cooling effect as long as the temperature of the air is lower than human body temperature. This is also how fans are able to cool down computers. The components inside a computer heat up during operation. The temperature of a CPU, for example, can reach up to 85 degrees Celsius, which is far hotter than any room temperature. By circulating room temperature air over the electronics, the heat is removed, thus preventing damage to the components. Another aspect to consider is perspiration. The human body sweats to cool itself down. This works because when the perspired water evaporates, it absorbs heat from the body. By moving the air, fans help water evaporate faster, which helps the body cool down faster. Fans are useful, however, there is a limit to how much cooling they can provide. The cooling effect of a fan only happens when the temperature of the air is lower than human body temperature. If the air is at the same temperature as the human body, which is around 36 degrees Celsius, the fan will no longer have any cooling effect. If the temperature of the air exceeds human body temperature, the fan will actually have a heating effect. When the air is hotter than human body temperature, the body absorbs heat from the air. This makes the air near the body cooler than the air in the rest of the room. If a fan is running, this cooler air is moved away from the body and replaced with warmer air, which leads to the body absorbing even more heat. This is how a convection oven works, which is just an oven with a fan inside. Conventional ovens cook food by heating the air inside the oven using a heating element. The heat in the air is then transferred to the food through thermal conduction. However, this process is slow because when the food absorbs heat from the air, an insulating pocket of cooler air forms around the food that separates it from the hotter air in the rest of the oven. This is due to the air acting as an insulator because of its low thermal conductivity. The fan's purpose is to move this cooler pocket of air away from the food and replace it with the hotter air near the heating element. This speeds up the cooking process significantly and reduces the energy consumption of the oven. When the temperature of the air is higher than human body temperature, a fan functions just like a convection oven, causing us to heat up faster rather than cooling us down. At temperatures higher than 36 degrees Celsius, using a fan to cool down is not a good idea. To conclude, fans do have a cooling effect on people. However, they don't lower the temperature of the air, which limits the amount of cooling that they can provide. If the temperature of the air is higher than body temperature, a fan may even cause us to heat up faster rather than cooling us down. Thank you for watching till the end, and I hope you enjoyed it.